Neurodivergent Life presents ADHD isolation might be necessary. It can also become too comfortable. Have you ever had that feeling like you just need to escape? The people at work are talking too much, gossiping about the latest trend or who's spending time with whom. The phones won't stop ringing. The orders won't stop coming. The noise won't stop. Then you have the times when you're out enjoying yourself, hanging out with your friends at the club, pool hall, or wherever you might be. Without warning, it becomes too much and you need to get some air. Occasionally, adults need a few minutes of peace and quiet. There are times when a child with ADHD will separate themselves from a group or activity because of the overwhelming emotional bombardment they're feeling. This is often a good thing for them to do, as it allows their emotions to level out without interference from others. However, if the ADHD child is also an introvert, it can easily become an all too comfortable place to stay. This leaves them with their strong desire to remain with the virtual silence, it's never silent to them, and not rejoin the group. It should be calmly encouraged for them to reintegrate into the group activities so that the inevitable feelings of loneliness don't become overwhelming. When I was growing up, I went to a week-long summer camp every year. I think it started around 4th grade and went through high school. I struggled through my junior high years, trying to fit in and discover myself. All the usual struggles a preteen teen goes through. What I didn't know is that on top of the regular struggles, I had to deal with ADHD and emotional dysregulation. I suffered from RSD, though I didn't know about any of it at the time. When the group activities became too much, or I felt shame for not being as good as others, I would seclude myself. If no one came after me, it confirmed that I wasn't part of the group to begin with. If someone came after me and yelled at me for leaving, it confirmed that I wasn't good enough to be part of the group and deserved to be alone. Occasionally, someone would come and calmly encourage me to rejoin, if nothing else, then to watch. I wouldn't rejoin right away, but I felt wanted. It helped me ease back into the group activities. Sometimes I would have to wait until my anger dissipated, but at least I knew that someone wanted me to be a part of the activity. Getting away from overstimulation, emotional overload, or the feeling of not measuring up to expectations is a necessary action for someone with ADHD. Not just children, but adults as well. As children, there can be any number of things that will set us off in believing we aren't good enough, even if the intent is to build our confidence. One year at camp, we played a game. A picture was taped to our backs and we had to guess what it was based on the descriptions other people gave us. Most people were able to guess theirs after several people described what it was. Mostly animals like horses, dogs, birds, and the like. Common creatures. When it came to my picture, no one knew what it was. Keep in mind, we were only kids at the time and this was in the 80s. The camp counselor who assigned it to me had to give me the description of what it was. I couldn't figure it out. I felt like an idiot. I was ashamed at my stupidity. The animal was a manatee. He said he gave it to me because I was the only one smart enough to figure it out. He preyed on my potential. I failed. That sent me into a spiral that fed my depression. I couldn't look at anyone. If I did, I could see their disappointment. I knew they thought I was stupid. I isolated myself from everyone for a couple of days after that. Sure, I went to the meetings and activities, but I didn't interact or participate. My shame was too much. No one told me how difficult it would have been to guess the animal. I figured that I should have guessed it or it wouldn't have been on my back. The intent was to build my confidence and to acknowledge to myself that I was smarter than I believed. It backfired. Someone with ADHD holds themselves to a different standard than others. There's a constant battle with rejection sensitivity dysphoria and depression that tells us we have to be better than what we are. If we fail or aren't smart enough, we'll be rejected. If there are parts of us that are imperfect, we feel the shame of it. In order to avoid being laughed at or teased, we'll stay quiet, not participate, and avoid anything competitive. All it takes is one mistake on our part. Even if others make the same mistake, we maintain that we should have been able to do it right the first time, every time. Isolation is easy. We only have to contend with the rejection of ourselves and not the rejection from others. We only have to deal with the noise in our own heads and not the demeaning comments from the people around us. Because isolation is easy, it can be a comforting place to be. At the same time, it deteriorates our ability to interact. It feeds the RSD and depression. Isolation breeds isolation, and the conversations in our heads never goes in a positive direction. Those imagined conversations hinder us from having real conversations or hearing what positive things someone else might be saying about us. While isolation is necessary at times, it should be monitored and kept in check. Too much and reintegration becomes more difficult. How much a child needs will vary, and some need more distance than others. Letting them know they're welcome to come back and wanted back will stew in their minds. The response may be slow coming, but it will be there. Sometimes just getting the invitation to rejoin as an observer can help them rejoin as a participant. Thank you for joining us here at Neurodivergent Life. If you've liked what you've heard, be sure to support us by becoming a free or paid subscriber at neurodivergentlife.substack.com. Until next time, keep on living that neurodivergent life.